Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Whoa, buddy. We have so many questions. We have to do 3 episodes in 1 week just to get through them.
Yep. Part of that is because there were so many generous folks at BumbleKast Live last month. We have to get to them now. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for your support. And let's get to it with the addition, of course, of the questions from our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members.
Yes, indeed. Professor Scruffy Matt's going to start us off. It's the climax of Ghostbusters, but the team is Sonic, Tails, Amy, and Knuckles. When asked to choose the form of the Destroyer, all of them are unable to clear their heads and instead try to think of something harmless. What do each of them think of, and which form does Gozer choose as the Destroyer?
Everyone's clearing their heads, and then you hear the footfall.
Oh,
and
no.
The second footfall.
Oh, no.
And then the giant eyes peered around the building. Bakuba! And it is a giant chow, and they really cannot bring themselves to shoot it with their lasers.
It's a giant chow. Yes. Okay. And that's what they all think of?
Well, they can't clear their heads, so they try to think of the most harmless thing they can.
Yeah, and they all think of chow.
Yeah.
This kaiju movie is getting weird.
It just happens that there's parade floats nearby, and it picks one up and tries to nuzzle it to take its power, and it pops instead, and it screams. Has a tantrum and knocks down buildings.
I figured Sonic would think of big, because he seems to think of big, apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know. Big is not harmless, though. I think Sonic would recognize that. And here's one from Quazzle J. Would Dr. Light be impressed by the metal virus?
I think he would be ultimately horrified.
That's kind of what I figured. Like, maybe impressive on a technical level, but yeah, it's not his style, definitely.
I don't think he could even appreciate it on a technical level. I think the morality of it would just be so repugnant that he couldn't accept it.
Yeah. Mainly.
Meanwhile, Wily's over there scribbling notes down, trying to figure out how to turn this into the new Wily virus.
Oh, boy.
He can make it work. He's a genius.
No. Wily, no. Knock that pen out of his hand. Rabbit Haver has a question. Team Dark is roommates. How does it go? Does Omega have his own room, or does he prefer the broom closet next to the water heater?
Omega has a issue with closets, considering that Eggman locked him in one at the beginning of the Heroes, and we've seen what he's done ever since.
Let me out of this closet!
Rouge, Omega's asking me to come out of the closet again. I'm trying to be supportive.
No closet can hold me, flesh bags.
I mean, Rouge lets him stay in her, loft room since it's much larger, and she already has so many places around town. Really, she can spare the one.
Yeah.
She's technically a roommate because it's a tax write-off, but, she's going to just stay over at her place. You boys can do whatever you boys do when I'm not here. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
Which then becomes a odd couple comedy between Shadow and Omega Rouge. Rouge comes back and finds that first the apartment has been painted in half. Shadow cannot cross this line. This is my side of the apartment. Well, your bedroom's on my side of the apartment. Curse you!
Oh, irony.
She comes back later and finds that it has actually been carved into the building now. The TV is in half, the sofa's in half, the refrigerator's in half. And your bedroom's still on my side of the apartment. Damn you!
It's my turn on the Xbox. Give me that controller.
Why is this thing too large for my hands? Old joke. LOL.
And Saturn Flicky has a question. Have you pitched any stories for the Great Battle Cuckoo 15 and his army in the IDW Classic Sonic comics? What's the likelihood of them showing up in the next couple of years?
I have, and not very.
Oh, fine. Scurvy Pirate Hog has a question. Hey Ian, congrats on the DC crossover gig. Just know the DC cast mean a lot to me, so I'm trusting you on this. Okay?
Eep.
As for the question, you do know about Crackle, right? The DC character who is based on and serves as an homage and tribute to Sonic the Hedgehog, right?
Hashtag knowing smile.
Uh-oh. Smash Zapper 85 has a question. What are your favorite stories and interpretations of the 6 DC characters revealed for the DC X Sonic crossover? We just literally talked about this in the last episode.
Yeah, in case you missed it, my primary experience with the DCU is the animated series from the aughts to the teens. Batman animated series, Superman animated series, Justice League Unlimited, Batman Beyond. That, for me, is my core understanding of them, but I have seen, the movie version, some movie versions, comic versions, other animated versions. Justice League Action is delightful. I wouldn't call that definitive, but it's certainly very fun. For favorite interpretations, let's see. Kevin Conroy's Batman is kind of the Batman.
He is truly the definitive Batman.
I know that feels like the standard geek answer, but he did so much with that character, and it's really interesting seeing the early versions of that character where he is very much mortal and Bruce Wayne is a regular character in the series compared to later on when he gets more and more into the Bat God Ninja thing. And even still, there is a grounded gravitas, and then the absolute bitter, tortured version of Bruce by the end of it all is fitting. I don't know. It's just satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's definitive, but I did like Gal Gadot's portrayal of Wonder Woman. She was easily the most entertaining thing in Superman v Batman. Not that it was a lot of competition, but she absolutely stole that movie.
Yeah.
And I'm limiting that to just her portrayal of that character. Let's not go any further than that. The Teen Titan anime-esque version of Cyborg is what comes to mind for me first. Not the Teen Titans Go version. That's a little off the beaten path, shall we say. That doesn't really factor in. But I do know that that's a little more comedy-oriented. So I kind of like a middle ground between that and some of his later animated interpretations. I just like the energy that he has, that tenacity in the earlier Teen Titans animated. And he had some really good character moments here and there. Like, I will forever remember, I think it was season 3-ish, where they were starting to tease the Titans West. And Robin says, it's time to go. And he pauses and says, yeah, maybe it is. And I was like, no, Cyborg, you can't go yet. Stay on the team. And then I was really excited for him to get his own team, and then really sad that he went back to the main team. But I was glad he was back. And, I had an emotional investment in the character. So I think that says something.
Yeah.
Flash animated version, the original DC animated that Barry is a lot of fun, and that run around the world to beat up Brainiac Lex is one of the most epic things in the whole damn world. Oh my god. Just,
yeah.
We haven't revealed which Green Lantern yet, but in general, I really enjoyed the CG cartoon. That ended well before its time.
Yeah.
And it's nice that Razor got a wrap up in Young Justice, but I got tired of Young Justice by season 2. And that's not what you're asking about. And do I have a good way to end this? Oh, Superman. And cold to take, I'm sure, but Christopher Reeve really was Superman.
Really, yeah.
Like, he just embodied it. That scene where he's Clark and he kind of thinks about it, revealing himself as Superman, and he just kind of straightens up, and then he loses his nerve and goes right back to being Kent. It's like, I believe it. I believe in that transformation.
Yeah.
I think Henry Cavill could have done a good job. I just don't think he was ever given any good material to work with.
Yeah, that's really kind of the thing. I think Henry Cavill could have pulled it off better if he had something.
And who was the actor who did that one in the middle, that one off? Superman Returns?
Oh, shoot. I forget his name. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. He did all right. There were a couple moments where
Brandon Routh. There we go.
Okay. There were a couple moments where he nailed the Christopher Reeve aspect. It was spooky.
Yeah. Brandon Routh is a really good Superman. I like him as Superman, but that story, the movie story, didn't really do him any favors.
No. And like, as he did a very good job emulating Christopher Reeve, but he didn't make it his own. Whereas Henry Cavill, I think, for what little he was given, did make it his own role.
Yeah.
He was distinctively the Cavill Superman. So, I don't know. It's hard to judge when they're given such poor material. Then again, Christopher Reeve was given absolute crap, and he still made it shine. So,
wow, that's a hot take.
Look, the fix the Great Wall of China Vision is stupid, and his frustration with the moment really shows through on the screen. But to me, as a child, it read as he's very, tired of having to fix everything, so he's just going to fix the wall super fast, and he's going to get back to being Superman.
Yeah. oh man. Yeah, you're never wrong. Soccer Cod has a question. Team Rocket decides to take a vacation and asks Team Sonic, Team Dark, Team Rose, and Team Chaotix to replace them for 1 week each. How does each of the teams succeed in their quest to catch Pikachu?
Team Sonic very quickly clues into the fact that they're a criminal organization now. And instead, what do they do best? What have they been doing since Sonic 1? They save all the small animals.
Yes. So they do the exact opposite of catching Pikachu.
Yes. Team Dark goes out of their way and exposes Giovanni as a corrupt gym leader and the actual head of Team Rocket. There's a big scandal, and we have a really kick-ass fight between Shadow and Mewtwo.
All right.
Team Rose.
The question is, which version of Team Rose?
We'll go with Sonic Heroes since it's
okay.
The traditional 4 teams here. Team Rose, maybe they buy into it initially because these 3 goofs are eccentric, but they seem nice enough, and realize after a brief fight that no, Pikachu is Ash's companion. They are very happy together. There is no ulterior motive here. And that's when Ash's crew explains, no, Team Rocket are the bad guys, and then refer back to Team Sonic.
Yes.
And Team Chaotix is pretty much the same as Team Dark. They investigate, they expose Giovanni, there's a big scandal, and then they all run screaming away from Mewtwo.
They don't even try.
You want me to fight that abomination? No. Pikachu, I choose you.
See ya, I'm leaving. I'm out.
Pikachu, use Thunderbolt. Pikachu, use Thunderbolt. Pikachu, use Thunderbolt. Don't you know any other moves? It's the only one I know, and it's working so far. Zap the thing. Get it.
I love your Vector voice so much.
Thank you.
All right, we got a question from Sonic Beta 4. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this, but it's been bugging me for a long time. Since all female characters wear clothes and pants, do male characters not have any genitalia, or are they just invisible?
They're cartoon characters.
Yep, nothing to get caught in the zipper here. Sonic Swordfighter has a question. What's the correct way to refer to a crowd of Nermies? Hermes and Gentle Nerms, or Nerman and Nerwomen? I think this has officially we've reached Nermy.
Maybe you just refer to them as Neverybody.
Peak Nermy.
Neverybody.
I think we've Ner-peaked.
Friends, Nermies, countrymen, lend me your ears.
Spacebar has a question. You mentioned Shadow operating off of dark thoughts compared to Sonic. Is this related to his disconnect with Maria's positivity in the manga?
Yes.
Guessing you can't say much else.
Well, I mean, the manga follows the cues from what we did with Shadow Generations, and Dark Beginnings. So,
yes.
Yeah. Watch those, play those, read those legitimately, and it all fits together more or less.
Spoiler 1001 has a question before we take a break. Since Omega uses pretty clean language, with the exception of grumbling expletive when he gets bumped into, Does Eggman not program swearing into his robots?
Well, they'll raise towns and terrify, but they'll do it in a classy way. Dadgummit.
Dadgummit.
Sage is investigating her own code and finds a whole bunch of prohibited words. Father, what do these mean? They mean you're a good girl. Don't look into it further.
Omega's been spending too much time around Shadow. And Rouge, probably.
Where is that gold sarned? Fourth Chaos Emerald. Flibbity gibbet, I missed. I'm going to teach you some 4-letter words just to save on your processing time. How the hoo-ha is that logical?
Oh, crikey. I missed.
Go back to your side of the apartment. Fiddlesticks to you. Enough of that nonsense. We're going to take a break, enjoy a couple of ads from our sponsoring patrons, and we will be back with more BumbleKast.
We're back with a question from Spyro James. I'm giving you a job, Ian. Ever since Dark Beginnings Episode 1, I have to ask, steamed hams with Shadow and Maria on the Ark?
Everyone else has beaten me to that. And done a far more impressive job than I could. I'm talking like full video edits, all sorts of stuff. So,
oh, that was fantastic. Yeah.
Not my intention, but you know, once art is out there, it will be interpreted in many ways.
I mean, yeah, it's a beautiful moment, but also, you know, people love memes. Steamed hams, except it's Shadow and Maria. System 509 has a question. How would Vanilla react to seeing all the, shall we say, hot-blooded fan art of her? I'm curious how someone as wholesome as her would feel, not just about the lewd stuff, but all the shipping and quote-unquote simping people do online.
I think she would be concerned. Not for herself necessarily, but for all these lonely people. And she hopes that they find a healthy, proper outlet one day, and she wishes the best for them. And she's going to talk to Tails to make sure that there are some safeguards installed in that browser now.
Cream is not allowed on the internet.
Well, no, she has responsible viewing hours. It's only for like supervised schoolwork and the occasional computer game.
Yes. Cream, you do not get a phone. Mom, I'm 30. Cream, you do not get a phone. Sunny Alternativity has a question. Does Styx know that Shadow's an alien?
You just hear her fumble with her like conspiracy board in the background. He's what? Well, he's at least part alien. Since when? Well, I mean, a minimum of 50 years ago. And everybody knows this? Yeah, didn't you? No!
Oh, no!
Gotta start all over again, just tearing papers down, unstringing things, pauses a second, looks at that picture of a unicorn, shakes her head, tears it down.
No!
Just spends the rest of the day in a funk.
Yeah, the government was even in on it.
There was a whole invasion, you know? Weren't you there? No. This is in my burrow.
I was busy.
Researching.
No one told me that the aliens were invading. All right, here's one from the Cyberspace Coco. As we know, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine is a version of Puyo Puyo. However, mean beans appear in Sonic Mania, and Eggman seems to be processing them in the chemical plant zone. Do you know what the official word on what the mean beans are in universe? Are they considered canon? And what about Has-Bean, the main character from Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, who is the bean that opposed Robotnik in that game?
I think it should just be taken as a fun little Easter egg boss fight and not thought about much harder than that.
Yeah, Mean Bean Machine takes a lot of cues from Adventures of, so
yeah, and that's dead.
I wouldn't put too much stock in it. Nah. And we got a question from the Hobgoblin. We've seen South Island, West Side Island, and North Star Island. Sonic was born on Easter Island. And what story do you want to tell about Sonic's home? Wait, I thought it was Christmas Island that he was born on.
Yeah, that's some old, obscure, defunct trivia. I don't really want to define it, honestly. I've kind of grown to enjoy Sonic as the perpetual vagabond, someone with a bit of mystery to him. Where did he come from? Where does he go? doesn't really matter. He shows up when he needs to, and he changes the world and the people around him and moves on.
Where did it come from? Where does he go? What does it matter, Cotton Eye Joe?
See, I resisted that. It was an actual guttural muscle clench to not do that. And it was very nice that you did it, so thank you.
I'm here to please. TV Guru has a question. In the past and now, do you use story pitches to see if Sonic characters not in the mainline cast, like Styx or Honey or whatever, are allowed, or do you just ask point blank if they're allowed first?
Depends on the situation. If they would be an asset to a particular story, I will, put that in there and see if it clicks. And if not, find a way to revise around it. And in other scenarios where I have the opportunity, I can ask more directly about them specifically.
Mm-hmm. And a question from Twilord is coming. This is a confession. You might have heard about the mini moon we currently have. In order to get you permission to make a new game starring Black Doom, I had to make a deal with him. The Black Comet orbits in wait. Did I do the right thing?
I don't know. Am I getting paid for this?
I mean, obviously.
All right, yeah, you did fine.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I mean, as long as the check cashes and the bills are cleared before I get devoured by the ravenous hordes, yeah, we're fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to die a horrible grisly death to alien invaders. It's another thing to do it while behind on your bills. And I have some dignity. Now, come on.
And a question from Wildcard717. It's a Drogoon question.
Hey.
So, there's obviously a magic system in place for Drogoon. Can you explain how it works, its limits, etc.? And did you run into any difficulty when crafting it?
Okay, so we're not going to turn this into an hour-long episode. I will be concise. Here's like the basic breakdowns of it. All magic within the Drogoon universe is fundamentally founded off of mana, which originates from Nordastra, which is the central star for the system. It is fed out to everything via the ley lines, and it is an inherent part of all life and all nature. It permeates the water, the ground, the individuals, the air. It is omnipresent. And finding ways to manifest it is the system that we know as magic. You do this through very specific runes. These can be crafted out of physical objects, out of tangible energy, whatever. But the runes have to be crafted in a specific way that tells the mana to congregate into this particular area to generate this specific effect. And this can range from, heating your stove, to driving your car, to launching a missile, to healing wounds, etc., etc. And you have to know how to craft it precisely and how to regulate the mana flow correctly, or you're going to have a bad time. Like, you can't just throw down a fire rune and expect that to cook your meal. Like, you have to understand how much energy is going into it, how much is transferring to the actual pan or to the food itself. It's like tending to an actual fire. Likewise, if you have a healing rune that is dispelling a particular type of medicinal magic, you can't just throw generic healing rune at somebody. If they're bleeding out, oops, you just tried to cure their pneumonia. They didn't have pneumonia, they're bleeding out. Different rune.
Oh, crap.
You didn't apply enough mana to it, so all it did was like very slowly try to close the wound and you failed. Or, oops, you put it up to like 120% and the wound is closed and they're growing a third arm. It's not, magic does not fix everything in this universe. Magic is the science. It is a resource that has to be carefully managed and understood. It is the technology, more or less, of this world. So you don't have wizards with spell books casting fireball. I'm sure that's in like the entertainment media within the universe, but in real life, quote unquote, you don't get that kind of pyrotechnics. It is a actual tangible force that has to be understood and utilized.
Interesting.
And when crafting it, there is difficulty because I wanted it to be grounded. I wanted it to be clearly defined because I didn't want there to be the wizards with their fireballs and spell books, but I also don't want it to be so constrained that it's boring,
right?
That it's just sci-fi with an asterisk saying, no, it's magic, So there needs to be a little bit of wiggle room in there. magic is transformative. It can do anything. It's just you have to know how to do it to make that happen.
Well, there you go.
And there's a whole other system of the fundamental elemental properties, what those are called, what their alignments are, how you mix and match them. Again, not going to do the whole Wikipedia entry here. Just that's general scope, magic and Drogoon.
Yeah. All right, Zach D has a question. A royal rematch of Blaze, Sally, and Sonya return to the arena of combat. The unknown force who put them in this situation was underwhelmed by Blaze's easy victory and decided to put limiter rings on Blaze to make it more fair. She can still shoot fireballs and have flame hands, but that's it. And to give the others an edge, Sally has her wrist blades from post-reboot, and Sonya has her keyboard gun thing. How does this new fight go, and who wins this time around?
Sally's at the disadvantage because she has no ranged option. And if they're being forced to fight, and we're going to assume that there is no, they overcome their differences and attack their captor type of storyline, I think Blaze and Sonya would be pragmatic enough to realize, okay, we can eliminate the one and better our own chances and just kind of wordlessly form a truce. And after that, Sonya's projectiles are based purely on her equipment. So if Blaze can get a good shot in on that keyboard and melt it down, Sonya has lost her advantage and Blaze wins again.
Sorry, you tried to make up a way to get Blaze to lose, and you failed. Because she can't lose.
Yeah, Sonya has her Sonya spin, but Blaze still has her fire-powered axle spin. Fire's going to give her the advantage.
Yep.
And I'm sure all that product in Sonya's hair is incredibly flammable.
Only one way to find out. And our last question is from Zetamax. Tangle and Whisper receive a letter in the mail. It's an invitation to join the Super Smash Bros. Roster. What are their final smashes and what stages do they bring with them? What sort of fun interactions do you see them having with the cast in their reveal trailer?
Oh my goodness. Spoiled for choice.
I feel like Tangle would bring Spiral Hill.
Yeah. And give Whisper the Diamond Cutter base, the abandoned one.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Like sections can fall away for stage hazards and then like the tide brings them back up right. Have it kind of rotate around the central base a little bit. That might be fun. Final smashes, Tangle latches onto a singular opponent and then acts as a ping pong ball to come in and bludgeon them from every single direction, racks up the crazy percentage, and then does a single, launching strike.
Yep.
Whispers is just all colors beam.
Whisper gets all colors, yes. As she should.
Yep. And for the trailer...
There's so many options. Holy crap.
Like, I'm kind of imagining a callback to the announcement trailer for Sonic back in, was it Brawl?
Brawl, yeah.
Yeah. Where it's, Mario's taking out Goombas and then you see Sonic's feet as he approaches and then Sonic runs him over and then Sonic gets bowled over as Tangle and Whisper overtake him because he wasn't expecting that.
Yes.
Alternatively, Sonic is being menaced by Bowser Jr. You play up the clown car Eggmobile parallels, and then Tangle and Whisper jump in Sonic style to defeat.
Sweet.
Or maybe do it individually, like ice climbers are scaling the cliff, and Nana and or Popo slips, and then all of a sudden a tail reaches up, and she swings up from below to grab him, and they continue the climb together. And
oh, adorable. It's too wholesome. That's too wholesome for this show. And
for Whisper, it's just straight up Snake sneaking through Shadow Moses, recreating the Sniper Wolf scene.
Yes.
Not a gun. I can't get any further. The sniper has me locked down. It's a Sniper Wolf, Snake. Yeah, I know. No, not that one. Another one.
Yes. Yes. This is delicious.
Monagon. This wolf has some kind of special adaptive weapon. That's our variable Westbond, Snake. It can take the power of 5 individual aliens known as Wisps and transform them into special offensive capabilities. Wisps, huh? How they taste.
Yeah. There we go. On that note, I think it's time to end this show.
Otacon, this Tangle and Whisper, they seem to get along really well. Yes, Snake, they're roommates.
Yeah, just like us.
On that note, we're going to wrap up this BumbleKast. Thank you so much to everyone who supports the show on patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
You tried to contrive away. There we go. That's the word I was thinking. Bleh. Oh well, words. Bleh. This is why I read the questions, not answer them. Also, hold on, Ian. I just want to say, apparently the Flash story you're thinking of was Wally Flash, not Barry.
Oh, is it Wally? Okay. Yeah, you're right. Because they say Wally specifically as they're trying to bring him out of the Speed Force. And this is why we have editors to course correct.
Yes.
You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org.
You might have heard about the mini Doom we currently have.
Nope.
Oops, I misread that. Okay.
Freudian slip, Kyle.
Also, the word Doom is right below Moon on at least for me.